Hello everyone, and welcome to the Goddess Glow podcast with me, Ray Grillo. Today I have a very special guest, Christian Jones. If you have seen my Instagram, I typically go out to events and I go out raving, and along my journey, I started going to Elation Events. I believe at the start of when you started it at the Thunderbird.
That was literally it was the grassroots, kind of like where we got started, and it's crazy to see how far it's come since then.
And Elations is more underground here in Las Vegas, and that is where I found a lot of healing done for me, and where I could actually feel like I was being myself. It's actually too where I found my PLUR, which is wanding as one at Elation Events. So.
Wanding that's something I've tried, and I just literally can't do it. I glove and I could do some poi, but that's honestly, the wanding's beyond me, man.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fun. That's
I love it. I love watching it at raves. I'm like, I'll pop a squat right on the ground. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah. And so I'm just grateful to have you here on my podcast and along my journey. Christian is the founder of Elations, founder and co-owner of Elations, and then he also owns Inkbusters, which is a tattoo removal place. If you're on YouTube, you can see that it's an art.
It is, yeah, it's crazy. People all the time are like, I can't believe you own a tattoo removal company. You're literally blasted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they're coming off. Not all of them. Okay. Some of them for sure.
Okay. What would you say, like, what was your first?
My first tattoo?
Yeah.
It's this god-awful tattoo on my back. I mean, it's literally egregious, and the whole reason I started Inkbusters was because I had this lady kind of take me for a ride with the removal process. I was 4 treatments in, I was, a little bit over $3,000, and I wasn't seeing any progress on the removal, and I was getting kind of frustrated, and then I later found out that this lady's machine was over a decade old, and it just, I don't know, it I think it pretty much just hurt me more than anything.
Okay.
And so I figured, maybe I could start my own company, and I could try to help people get their tattoos removed without taking them through the ringer to do it.
I've heard that it's a very painful process. It's more painful than getting the tattoo.
God, is it? It is an excruciating process, but the cool thing about it is it is fast. It is super, super quick, where a tattoo that would take you 20 hours to get, you could probably get through it in about 15 minutes.
Wow. Okay. And then going into like your entrepreneurship, I know you do other stuff as well. Like you said something about mortgages.
Yeah, I do mortgages on the side, and then of course I have Elation Events, and I do VIP hosting for nightclubs now. I worked at the Wynn at Encore Beach Club for several years, and I slowly transitioned out of that into events of my own. But I still have a lot of clients that come in and come to me to book their vacations, etc. So, that's whatever. I like as many little pots as I can.
Yeah. And so I have a lot of entrepreneurs that I've had come across the podcast, and I want to talk about like your journey a little bit more, and why events, well, other than here in Vegas, is nightlife.
Right.
And you had a segue into that after your military experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
I joined the military. I raved before the military. I started raving at when I turned 17. Mm-hmm. And I went in the Army when I was 18. Got out when I was 22. And war has its own impact and crisis on human beings, on what they go through, and I can honestly say that raving and the community and the support that it provides and the music itself has had a very large hand in the healing process for my mind and my PTSD that I had at the time. And not to say that it's gone, but it's definitely diminished, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And is that why you decided to start Elations?
I started Elation with my partner Ryan because there was no do trance out here. And we initially started off thinking that we were just going to do trance, and I'm like, why would we just do trance when there's so many other great underground genres that are also so underserved in Las Vegas? So then we slowly transitioned into techno, and then hardstyle, and we do a lot of progressive stuff now, and the growth has been exponential, and it's been really cool.
Okay. Have you so when I went to Thunderbird, I don't know your story too, like during COVID, because I know that impacted events a lot.
Yeah.
And were you doing the tattoo removals also during COVID?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Elation obviously was shut down, couldn't do events. And during that time, you know what I mean, we all had a lot of downtime, all of us, twiddling our thumbs and, you know what I mean, and just doing our best to stay as safe as we can given the situation. So I started removing the tattoo off my back. And so that was probably in mid-COVID, because we were doing that for 2 years. And that's when that's when that lady kind of just took me through loops, and I decided to start researching it. So I actually started the started the tattoo removal company over COVID because I needed something else to do.
Okay.
And what's crazy is, as soon as I started that company, we pretty much opened back up, like 4 months later, right when we started to pick back up, or right when the company started to pick up, and it was just wild to be thrown into I felt like I had to relearn how to do events, because there's so much stuff on the back end that nobody sees, logistics wise and planning wise, that it was a challenge at the time. And then I decided to do a bodybuilding competition at the same time. I can honestly say that's the most I've ever juggled in my life.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that is a lot. I completely understand where you're coming from. Other than the bodybuilding, now that is a whole endeavor on its own.
Yeah, I think I'm done with that.
Yeah, okay.
I think I'm done. It was cool.
Okay.
It was cool. I'm good looking. Okay.
Okay.
I'm good. Okay's good with me. I don't need to be great.
Did you do it for some sort of childhood goal, or just to feel better, or?
I've always been in the gym. I've been in the gym since I was probably 16 consistently. I've never really stopped. I've always been in shape, and this is my third bodybuilding competition, and I don't know. Sometimes I get little personal challenges where I'm like, you know what, I want to do this because I don't know. I feel like pushing myself to the brink, I guess. You know what I mean? How do you know you're alive if you're not? You know what I mean? Pushing it. So I just it was a really random thing, and it was cool. It was fun. But I dieted for 7 months, and you know what I mean. I missed out on a lot of life, and I don't think it's worth the life and kind of the impact it takes on your health to put yourself through that.
Okay. Well, now I want to transition back to the events, or just your daily life in general.
Sure.
And for anyone who's listening, especially my male listeners, that I want to sort of have them, because it feels like you're the reason why you do elations or anything, feels like you're a really heart-centered person. I haven't really gauged a big ego from you.
Yeah, I try to keep that as low as possible. There's nothing flattering or attractive about massive egos.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why I am glad to have you here and transitioning on that, because I feel that you have some things to offer and to inspire, and I want to know more about your daily challenges, or what you do on a daily basis to just what you do. What does your ritual look like?
Got it. I mean, it's pretty, I guess my day's pretty basic. I mean, basic for me, I guess. I wake up, and the first thing I do is get in my emails, and I probably send emails for the first 3 hours, make a ton of phone calls. Elation's picking up. I think they'll probably do upwards of 80 to 90 events this year, as well as the laser company's picking up. We had 100 clients last month. So we're working on over 100 removals a month. So yeah, I'm kind of just all over the place. I spend a majority of my time at the studio, and then working on my laptop, and then just trying to stay consistent in the gym, which is proving difficult lately. But sometimes you just got to sacrifice short term for long term gains.
Mm-hmm. And so what are you like faced with? You find with events that can be. I have seen, so email wise, I have seen. I think it was Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like he ended up having to like be pushed back, and so with these artists that you're working with, have you found that it can be difficult when you set something and then it's like looking for something else?
It's extremely difficult. We actually when COVID, I think it was, I want to say it was December. We lost 3 shows 3 weeks in a row.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, just COVID, and the first 2 at least we had somewhat like a week's notice. The third one though, it happened the day of, and I'm like, sick, scramble. You know what I mean? Getting on the phone with agents, getting on the phone with the venue, trying to figure out how to pull it out of a hat without pissing off ticket buyers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Without making them, you know what I mean? Obviously the venues understand, you know what I mean? What are we going to do with COVID? You know what I mean? But every time.
Because they're dealing with it too.
Oh yeah, we're all sunk by it. You know what I mean? And it sucks, especially because after we were down for so long, like you do 9 times out of 10 when you have to make shifts like that day of, week of, you're gonna lose money. So I think the last one that we did, we were supposed to do the No Mana tour, and Jordan got COVID the day of, and we ended up making that event free, dude. You know what I mean? Just to try to quelch the backlash for him not making it, and then also providing, also keeping everybody's tickets valid for the next show.
Okay.
Should they choose to attend. Okay.
And when you're met with this sort of challenge, are you sometimes are you taken back I don't have to deal with this shit, or are you more
yeah.
Okay, so what can we do from here? Do you go into that sort of?
You know what? Or? That's depends. I mean, it was the first time, the second time, or the third time. You know what I mean? The first time you're like, all right, it's cool, we got this. The second time you're like, okay, it's all right. The third time you're like, what the fuck, dude? This is crazy. This is absolutely wild. You know what I mean? You just roll with the punches. It's obviously not the artist's fault. And you know what I mean? It's in everybody's best interest if they do not attend. Okay. Given the COVID situation. But yeah, it does grow cumbersome and it can be frustrating. But you know what I mean? And it's what the next challenge that it creates is not just losing that day, but figuring out a reschedule day. Okay. Because now you have to push it back, but you're already working on your calendar way out here. Yeah. So, and now you're trying to somehow shift the card in somewhere, you know. So it creates challenges now and down the road. Yeah. And because you're saying you're wanting 100 events booked out. That's definitely the goal right now. Whether we're, you know what I mean, we're going to try to start expanding into other markets at some point this year, I believe. And, but yeah, over 100 is definitely the goal. And if that doesn't happen this year, then next year for sure. But I think that we'll get very close. Okay. Did you have this goal in mind at the beginning of the year, or it just sort of fell into place because you saw how many you were booking, or? Yeah, I don't think that we really set a goal for volume. I know that we've definitely set goals for size of events and where we want to put events. You know, I think that our Gareth Emery show, yes, EDC week was a very big notch in the belt. I think we're expecting anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 people at this show. So you know what I mean? That's to come from something like Thunderbird where we have 120 people, dude, up to 3,000 people. It's and especially the world debut of one of the largest trance artists that are on the planet is very exciting, dude. Yeah. It's very exciting for us. So I'm very excited for this one. That's so it's cool. It's so cool to watch it grow, and you know, to be able to bring stuff like that to Las Vegas, because even when I set out on this journey, I wasn't actually sure that we'd get here, and if we did, when it would be. So it's almost surreal. Okay. And now I want to talk about people skills. It seems like you have great people skills, of course, when you're doing these sales, and then talking to the artists and agents. And, right. Well, maybe not the artists, more so the agents and booking the venues.
What sort of people skills do you feel, or something that you're consciously aware of when you're like speaking with people, like how you're being and projecting, that may help others? Because I have found mostly like business, it's an entrepreneur, you have to network.
You have to network. Yeah. If you can't talk, I mean, you're leagues behind everybody else. I mean, honestly, I think that I try to find something that resonates with the other person, something that we have maybe in common. The cool thing about, I guess, reaching to agents, not everyone, but a lot of agents, that we obviously have the same taste in music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we can find some kind of common ground that we can talk about. I think that's honestly key when you talk to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Find something that you have in common, something you like, that you can kind of delve in together. You know what I mean? And you can share a passion on it. At that point, I feel like it's a really good icebreaker, instead of trying to, you know what I mean, not finding out more about that person and what they're into, rather than maybe talking about yourself. I think that starting out by listening and then coming in with something that's relevant can help.
Yeah. So being more interested versus interesting.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and you can always be interesting after.
Oh yeah, true.
But if you're talking about all the wrong stuff, you're digging. You know what I mean? You're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And I have noticed too with the EDM community, and just the people that I've talked to, it's the music.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, nightlife not so much. However, like in your events, nightlife
definitely not. I'm not
totally
even
different.
I'm not even sure what you talk about in nightlife. Louis bags and
that one hasn't. I'm still finding
Sure.
still finding like a range of topics for that one. However, in the EDM like PLUR community, I have noticed it's easy to talk to people, because again, it's like for the love of the music.
Right. It kind of puts us all like on a common ground.
And we were having a conversation before how you're saying that you're just, you're put on these events and you see for Elations, one, you're just a rave kid.
Yeah,
like
I'm just a rave kid, man. I mean,
if
you'll catch me in events wearing candy. You'll catch me in events 9 times out of 10. If you ask, I have my gloves in my pocket, and I'm down to give you a light show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep it in my
9 times out of 10, I do have my gloves in my pocket. You know what? I don't want to be on a crazy pedestal. I'm not any more special than anybody else. You know what I mean? I just want to put cool stuff on so that we can all enjoy it and we have something to go to. Because for most of my adult life, I always had to go to LA, dude, or Phoenix, or you know what I mean, or Texas, dude, to go get my fix for the music. I wanted to hear it, I'm hoping that we have or can finally reach a point to where we don't have to do that anymore. You know what I mean? We have everything that we need right here in the Las Vegas Valley.
Yeah, and I've noticed too, for me personally, because I haven't seen the LA scene yet. I haven't really traveled. I mean, I've done festivals and traveled around for festivals, and I find myself itching for like trance or techno, and it's like house. Like, I mean, house is big here.
Right, house is very big here.
I like progressive house. However, house is big here, and then like dubstep, bass, bassy stuff.
Right.
And it's it's like you want that fix, like you want that like techno or trance fix. And the only thing I would think of is Dream State or EDC, like Quantum Valley.
Right, exactly. Okay. No, and I think you're absolutely right. As you know what I mean, as for the West Coast anyway.
West Coast.
You know what I mean? That's the biggest. Dream State's the biggest trance festival in the States. So, but yeah, they're I think they're the. There's not very many trance brands, dude. Not many left anyway on the West Coast.
And so, would you say Elations is like on the forefront of that, or working towards it?
Yeah, we definitely like to get somewhere near that level. I don't know if we'll ever get quite that big. I mean, never's a long time, but the goal is definitely to start throwing trance festivals or larger trance shows that are, you know what I mean, getting a little bit more extravagant. multi-artist stuff, and you know what I mean. It'd be even great to get into some like multi-day things eventually.
And okay, so would you say the Gareth Emery event is your biggest event, next biggest event coming up?
That'd be the biggest event we've ever had.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so and it's definitely the biggest one coming up. I think we're like 6 weeks out from that at this point. So
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm wanting to wrap this up now, and is there anything else that you would like to share with people, or maybe like something like to-dos or not to-dos at events?
Yeah, don't clack your fans. Nobody likes fan clackers.
I actually really enjoy it.
She does. She loves it.
When it's with the beat.
When it's with the beat.
Not the whole time, like at like when it like really hits sometimes, and then like.
What about whistles?
During techno.
During techno. I love it.
Yeah. Just a little bit though. Don't overdo it.
Right.
Please don't overdo it. Because then it just gets obnoxious.
Right.
So when it's like, warranted. And then, because you can feel the energy coming from that person. They're like really feeling it. Okay, so fan clacking.
Fan clacking. Other than that, I mean, if anybody ever wants to, chat or just get to know me, I'm super open. You know what I mean? I love talking to everybody. I'm super personable. If you see me at one of my events, I'd love to meet you and kind of, you know what I mean, get to know. I'd love to get to know everybody who comes to my events personally, and you know what I mean, and kind of understand, you know what I mean, where they're coming from, and thank them for taking out the time to show my brand some love. You know what I mean? It's a lot.
Yeah. And then also, if you guys are interested in going to the Gareth Emery event or even talking to Christian more, check out his Instagram. The links are going to be down below, either on YouTube or on the podcast. And just check them out. And then I've seen you too. You also DJ a bit?
I do DJ. Okay. Yeah, every once in a while. It's a random thing, dude. Every once in a while, it's an itch I have to scratch, and then I get up there and I do it. And I'm like, oh, that was fun, and then I get it, and then whatever. So yeah, I'll do it every once in a while. I actually do enjoy it, but I don't want to be that like weird promoter that like puts himself on all of his shows.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? You have one job or the other. You know what I mean? I like, my biggest thing is I like to put people on, dude, that put us on. I like to put my friends on to play, you know what I mean? Because they want to play for the artists that they love. You know what I mean? And I think it's a cool moment for them to be able to, like, especially the guy that's like direct support, to go up and just shake the hand of the DJ that they literally love, because I always try to put my friends on with DJs that they just admire, and shake their hand and literally pass the decks off. You know what I mean? I think that's a cool moment that you know what I mean, for them, and I'd love to be able to provide, you know what I mean, little rave moments like that, because I think that's the stuff that you look back on.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And then you get to see a lot of your artists, I'm assuming. All your favorites.
Yeah, I book. Yeah, if I book them, I love them. Yeah. So you know what I mean. It's very cool from my end, to be able to go out and get dinner usually, and really get to know them on a much more personal level, and and 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? They're as happy as can be just to come out, and they love the fact that Las Vegas has something now, and it's not just nightclubs, and it's, you know what I mean? We actually have like our own underground rave family. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for all that you do. And also to show my appreciation some more, I'd like to give you these oils.
Yay!
I have some oils. I was thinking, I was like, what do you guys do for self-care?
Right.
You're saying you want more zen, and I use these oils throughout my day. This is part of my Goddess Glow brand, and I use these to like help me calm the fuck down sometimes while going through my day.
Thank you.
Everything that I do.
Thank you so much,
these are for you.
I really appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
So thank you for checking out the podcast again. Check out Christian Jones and his events. And also, if you are needing a tattoo removal, it's the place to be. All right, bye guys.
Bye, thank you.